In today's video, I answer a few questions about nutrition and how to max out properly.
All by myself.
Hey guys, what's going on? This is Paul Ravella from ProPhysique.com, and today's video, I'm gonna address a few things. I got a couple good questions, and I don't really think they warrant an entire video. They're kind of a shorter answer. So I wanna talk about first, why is it important to eat protein, carbs, and fats? Why don't we just eat whatever the hell we want, okay? What's the value in that? And then the second question I got off my Instagram was, how do you properly max out? And so I figured I would address these because these are kind of beginner type questions. And again, as the longer I do this, I find that I tend to start getting into these really niche questions that don't answer questions for a lot of people. So it's fun for me to think back to these questions and think, you know, that's actually a good question. That's probably something that a lot of people are wondering. So I'll read the questions to you here and I'll put them on the screen. And if you want to send me a question, use my Instagram below. You can send me a direct message or you can leave a comment or question below in the comment section. I'll try to get to them. You guys have been sending me such great questions. I really appreciate it. So here we go. Paul, I watch your videos and they're great. And I think you're one of the few on YouTube that actually does all this because you care about others. Well, thank you for that. I have a question regarding calorie deficiency. Why is it important to follow percentages like fat and protein percentages? Can't we just eat 100% carbs and still lose weight if we are in a deficit? What does hitting these macros actually help with? Thank you very much. Okay, so first things first. If you are in a calorie deficit, you are correct, you will lose weight. The definition of being in a calorie deficit is actually that you're taking in less calories than you are burning on a given day. Now, a lot of people confuse this and they think, well, I'm looking at my online calculator, I'm looking at the calories burned on my cardio equipment, and I'm in a calorie deficit. But understand that those are both equations. So just because an algorithm tells you that you should be in a deficit doesn't actually mean you are. Our bodies are very, very dynamic. But what you're asking me here is, could you eat a 100% carb-based diet and lose weight? Absolutely. There's been a lot of people that have done some ridiculous diets to lose weight. One teacher famously had his students design his eating plan around eating McDonald's 3 times a day. And I think he lost like something like 50, 60 pounds during that semester, allowing his students to go pick out his foods. Now, while I don't necessarily agree that we should be eating McDonald's all day, every day to lose weight, he did do it. He was able to lose weight. Why? Most people associate McDonald's with, you know, fries and soda, which you can also get a chicken salad and a diet soda or a water, right? So it ultimately comes down to choice. Now, why do we eat protein? Why do we eat carbs? Why do we eat fats? Well, in the big picture of things, actually, those are all good things. They taste good. You know, depending on your ethics and your morals and your cultural background, these are foods that are a part of your life. It's not just about nutrition all the time. Sometimes it's about being social. It's about enjoying life. It's about what your grandma makes for Thanksgiving, okay? I like macaroni and cheese baked with the breadcrumbs on top during Thanksgiving. I don't want it any other time, but it's a part of my history, my culture. And so that's something that I like. And I don't necessarily look at it just as protein, carbs, and fats. Now, for some of us that are concerned about performance, this is where it gets more interesting because protein is the building block of muscle. So if you're not getting in enough protein and you're a performance athlete, you're breaking down muscle and you're not rebuilding it, okay? So for most of us, protein is going to be the macronutrient that we need to keep in our diet to keep and build muscle. I'm not gonna get into the details of how much, roughly around a gram per pound of lean body mass, okay? That's just a baseline. So if you're getting enough protein, why do you need fats? Well, again, fats taste delicious, okay? You ever wonder why the best steaks are marbled white? It's because they hold the most flavor, like fat, like bacon, okay? So anything with fat is generally gonna taste very good, okay? I find that I actually start craving more and more fat the leaner and leaner I get. My brain messing with me when I'm trying to be shredded, okay? I really start to crave peanut butter, which is, you know, a lot of fat in it, although it does have protein, okay? So what I really like about fat, and when I think about fat, is I think about hair, nails, hormones, okay, sex hormones. If you get your nutritional fat too low, you can actually start to have some negative impacts on the things and the processes that are going on in your body that you don't foresee, okay? So when we're talking about hormones, the sex hormones for men, we're talking about testosterone and things like this. And when our testosterone gets low, well, It can lead to depression, certainly can lead to lack of performance in the gym, in the bedroom, wherever it is in your life. For men, we need testosterone, and the same applies for women. I've seen some women that I've worked with that had other coaches before that were taking in things like 10 grams of fat a day for long periods of time, and they started noticing some pretty adverse side effects, okay? It can cause some things like hypothyroidism, but the things that I've seen are more external, like hair loss. Now, I've got a lot of hair loss. Male pattern baldness. Thanks, genetics. But for women, it can be a bit more scary, okay? Everyone knows guys are going to be a little bit balder when they get older, unless you lucky bastards out there with a full head of hair. But for girls, thinning hair, I mean, that's got to be freaky, okay? So when I have girls come to me that are losing their hair, you know, keeping fat higher throughout the diet, I've never had a girl complain about it when we keep the fat a little bit higher. So that's where protein and fat come in. Carbohydrates are basically an energy source that it's easy to overconsume. So that's why we keep our macronutrient ratios in the right proportions. We want to build muscle, we want to have our hormones in a good place, and we want to have energy for training and for performance. But if you're just concerned about a calorie deficit, well, then why not fast? I've seen people raving about these fasting approaches. Well, they don't eat anything. Sometimes not for days or weeks at a time. Why? Because our bodies have fuel built into them. Body fat. That's right. Our bodies can break down body fat. So it's all about creating the caloric deficit. It's all about finding something that's sustainable and something that fits your goals, your lifestyle, okay? Clearly, if you're going to eat just carbohydrates, you're probably not too concerned about performance. So let's talk about the next question. How do we properly warm up for a max? Okay, I'm gonna read it on the screen here. I wanted to learn about how to properly max on an exercise, like how it should be done, preparation, and all that. And also, the scientific benefits of maxing out, if there is any benefits. Love your content, keep up the great work. I will. Thank you, partner, for the great question. So let's address the first part. How do we max out on a lift? First and foremost, you have to be safe. If you're gonna max out on a lift, understand that the likelihood of failure goes way up. And if you don't have a spotter or a machine that keeps you safe, it could lead to death. Yes, people have died lifting weights before. Not common, but be safe. Especially novice lifters that, you know, not familiar with it. You're gonna have a lot of inefficiency in your movement patterns, okay? So let's pick one lift. Let's pick a difficult lift, like a squat. How do we max out on a squat? Well, what I would typically do for my lifters that I work with, I want them to make sure that their technique is good. So I would have them send me a video of their form. If you don't have a coach, you know, you can go online and try to find it. But something like the squat is very difficult when it comes to the movement patterns because it's all tied in to what your biomechanics dictate. The bar has to stay over the center of your foot. So the safest thing you can do is get in a squat rack with safety bars, start warming up with the bar, do a bunch of reps, then add 15, 20, 30 pounds at a time. So if you're at 45, go to 75. If you're at 75, go to 115. If you're at 115, then go to 145. And just make sure you're getting, you know, 5 to 10 reps pretty comfortably. Don't fatigue yourself. When you're going up, reduce the reps. So you might start at a set of 20, then you might start at a set of 10, then you might do a couple sets at 5, and then you can start to test where your max is. This should be done over the course of like 15 to 20 minutes to get to that max set. Don't be in a rush. Have spotters. If you can use this device to record it, even better. You can look at playback and you can get feedback on what was good and what was wrong. So that's how I advise warming up for a max lift. You go in there, you take your time, you do the dynamic warm-ups, just the bar, then you start adding 20 to 30 pounds based on your level of strength. Now, if you can deadlift 700 pounds, you're probably jumping up 100 pounds or more each set, okay? But if you've never maxed out before and you don't know your strength, take your time, do not rush. Now, what is the benefit of going to a max? What is the value? Is there any reason? Well, it's actually motor unit recruitment, okay? So when we max out, when we go all out with our lifts, our bodies actually recruit more muscle fibers, yes. So there is a benefit. You actually learn a skill. Powerlifting, where the goal is to lift the most weight for a single repetition in a competition, well, that is all about the skill. A lot of people think of a skill as like hitting a golf ball, throwing a baseball, but if you think of powerlifting or squat, deadlift, bench, or any of the big lifts as a skill, you start to get in the mindset of practice, 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 because motor unit recruitment, you want your muscles to fire in the right pattern. So if you're trying to do a max lift, you want to make sure that your muscles are firing in a manner that is most efficient. And that's the value. So you get good and more efficient at lifting heavier. You can lift more weight. You have more training volume, sets times reps times weight over time. You build more muscle. So learning how to lift heavy does have value. However, it's super important that you stay safe, that you don't get injuries, because nothing's worse for building muscle than not lifting weights. That's basically what it comes down to. All right, guys, that's gonna be it for me today. I'm getting on a flight to Toronto in about an hour, but that's how much I love you guys. Probably not gonna do a video for the next couple days, although maybe I'll do some raw vlog style. Comment below if you want raw vlog from Toronto Pro. I've got Bikini Cass, Cassie Malone making her pro debut. I got Kayla Carrero going for her pro card in Canada in figure. And I've got Emily Lee competing in the amateur bikini. So I'm gonna be up there. I'm gonna see Emily Hayden. I'm gonna see Stephanie Buttermore. I'm gonna see my friends, some peeps up in Toronto. Make sure you come say hi if you're up there. I'm rambling now. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Maybe not.